Okay, guys, let's get the show started. So, today is a very special day.
Cliff, we need you on set.
I'm busy doing a thing here.
Doing what?
God damn it, what did I tell you about this? Just get this.
What the hell is this?
Yo, I wanted to take them off real stylish, like.
No. Doesn't work.
It works.
Hey guys, so we just watched Quentin Tarantino's 9th film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well, it's technically 10th, but he has Kill Bill as one movie. But anyway, we just checked out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, and in this movie, 1969 Los Angeles is the setting where everything is changing as TV star Rick Dalton and his longtime stunt double Cliff Booth make their way around an industry they hardly recognize anymore. Of course, we were really excited for this movie leading up to it. I had seen all the movies finally, watched Death Proof like a couple days ago, so of course I was really excited. We're both big Tarantino fans. And I know some people right off the bat are going to flat out hate this movie. It has this sort of, I guess, acquired taste for film lovers. But if you love Tarantino, I can't really see why you wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah.
At all. But let's get the negatives out of the way first, because I love this movie. I think you do too. For me, the big thing was, like a lot of people are going to say, pacing issues. It's not really boring ever, but the thing is, the movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes, and you do feel it at times, but then again, it does also add to the movie, because by the end of it, you feel like you've just had an experience, because it feels like you've been there for a really long time.
Right. And also, you know, I think 3-act structure, right? I think the runtime also made me not notice where the first and second half like divide. I have like zero clue. Like, I've been thinking about it for about 10 minutes and I don't know where it...
Yeah. And also, this was not a problem I had, but I just noticed that a lot of reviews had this problem, and I just kind of wanted to share why I think it's not really that much of a big problem for me. Sharon Tate, Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate in this movie, and a lot of people have said she's useless in this movie, and I can understand where they're coming from. She doesn't really have a lot to do, but the only thing that makes me really appreciate the fact that she's in this movie and feel like it's a good thing and it's fine is because
you like looking at her.
Yeah,
hey man,
anyway,
same here.
And the fact that it kind of builds this sort of atmosphere around this movie and you really feel like you're watching a real sort of story. It adds to the third act near the end as well, because if you know anything about Sharon Tate, you know the tragedies that happened in this story. So it does add to that, and it does make the payoff at the end better. So I didn't really care that she was in this movie. She was a fine addition, even though she didn't have much to do.
If she was completely out of the movie, you would have lost some of those vibes, but
yeah,
overall, you wouldn't be losing much besides eye candy.
Right, I don't really...
It's a good performance. So.
I don't think she was, like, essential to this movie, but she really built this sort of historical vibe and really made you feel like it was a real place.
Yeah, it transported you back into the past.
Yeah.
I have 3 things that I have to say here. Okay, so, 1, I had heard from a couple reviewers saying that this is Tarantino's most self-indulgent film, as in, like, he just brings out everything and he just doesn't care to show, doesn't care if, like, you know, it's in your face, or if, you know, it's showing it all, if he's showing it off, but, you know, I feel like it was definite, like, fan service, and I didn't mind it. If you think of all these crazy elements and all these amazing things he brings into the movie as fan service instead of a self-indulgent aspect of the movie, then I feel like that completely goes away. So I didn't mind it, but just for some viewers, I'll say it. There's a lot going on in this movie. There's 4 or 5 plot lines, and there are so many characters. There's so many characters, and it's not like I ever got mixed up or ever, and I'm not gonna complain about the amount of characters, but I feel like there should have been more puzzle pieces dropped in the movie that you had to put together at some point. So I feel like there should have been more of each plot line sprinkled throughout the movie, because it all kind of culminates in the third act, of course. And I know you said this was supposed to happen, but I can't get over how much it feels like something just came out of nowhere. And I wish there was at least more hinted at. There was one huge scene that is like big red lights, but again, if you had made the movie a little bit more about that one thing, then it would have been perfect. I would have been like, there's no problem with, you know, that aspect of the movie.
I've been looking really stupid every time, while you're talking. Cause
so I
was just like, now everyone's gonna roast
this
us.
Is what I'm gonna. This is what I was doing. I was like,
all right, so let's get into the positives.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the positives with this movie. I don't even know what that was.
His grandpa sneezed.
All right. Anyway, so Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are of course fantastic.
Suck. No, yeah. I'm joking. They're amazing.
Yeah. They're of course fantastic in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio plays an actor who feels like he's not really big enough, or he's starting to slowly fall because he's mostly playing villain roles, and he feels like that kind of causes the audience's perception of him to slowly kind of decline as time goes on. But he played that really well. He had a lot of scenes where he had to act like he was acting, because there was a lot of scenes where they were filming, and he was really, really good at that.
Yeah. He had to play like 3 layers of characters.
Yeah, his role was really complex, and he played it really, really well. Brad Pitt was the more badass one of the two, I guess. I don't really know who's better. I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio's role was more complex, so he kind of had to do more with his performance, whereas Brad Pitt just kind of was this laid-back sort of fellow, and he only really did one thing.
And that is true, but what I love about his character is that there's so much ambiguity surrounding him. So, you know, there's one thing, like, he did or didn't do this, was this all in his head, or was this not? It's awesome. I love that. I love that Tarantino did that, and it just hit me now. I was like, that's creative.
They, of course, elevate this movie quite a bit. They're grade A level actors, so yeah, there is that. I think the music in this movie is also really good.
Yeah, hit that soundtrack up. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, but also even in the more intense scenes as well. The cinematography is fantastic.
Oh, dude!
It's Tarantino cinematography. Yeah. The scenes where they were filming and like the production stuff and all that was just really, really awesome. It felt like I was watching like a documentary about film.
Right, and you know what? You knew also, since like this movie is about a movie star, like you can see throughout the different eras of when he did what, his movies, you can tell which ones are made in the 50s because of the aspect ratio, or like what's 35 or 70 millimeter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeet. The first couple acts I really enjoyed. The third act kind of blew me away. I know you had problems with that, but the third act really blew me away. You really get the Tarantino filmmaking that you would expect. I knew I was going to get that at some point, and when it happens, it's pretty awesome. It's probably the most hyped up I've been in a movie like all year, probably even more than Endgame.
So was I. What? Oh my god, okay, I did not know you would say that.
Yeah.
I was trying to get everybody to clap, like, in one scene.
I mean,
involving a can, but like...
Yeah, but, like, Endgame was, like, you know, slow progression of, like a huge excitement until it built up to that ending. I feel like I was more excited while watching Endgame, but I was just more hyped up while watching this scene, this one scene in this movie that was just absolutely mind-blowing.
And also, that was, like, the funniest scene.
In a way, it was funny, but it was also pretty badass. It also shows how good Brad Pitt is.
I was laughing so hard. Like, when you're laughing in a movie, and then like no one's laughing, but you're still dying, and it's starting to hurt a little. Like you're in the theater, you're like, oh god, okay. That's what was happening.
One problem I noticed in a lot of reviews where they were saying it's not like your typical Tarantino movies, so that's a bad thing. That's just not a fair flaw to have with this movie, because you can't really have a certain expectation when you're watching a movie. Just because a certain director has done things in the past that, you know, he has accumulated doesn't mean that he has to do the same thing every time. And if you don't really see that in this movie as much, it's not a bad thing, because it's just something different, and you can't really flaw the movie for that. It's just Tarantino trying to do something new, and it really works in my opinion.
Don't expect any formula to be followed here.
Yeah.
Don't expect, like, whoa, this happened in Kill Bill, but it didn't happen here. You know, some Tarantino movies are definitely similar. Yeah. Like, I think this is, like, kind of accustomed to the earlier stuff, but, you know, it's not something that you can really compare and then have a problem because it doesn't compare well.
I think the most Tarantino thing in this movie is the third act, like what happens near the end.
And I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Let's go.
But as a whole, this movie has a lot of things that aren't going to be like your typical Tarantino movie, and it's one of the reasons I think a lot of people are not going to like this movie, but I really enjoyed it. I thought all that stuff was really interesting, so yeah, that was really good.
I didn't want it to end, man.
Yeah, neither did I. At a point, I kind of forgot I was watching a movie because, like, everything felt so real and so authentic, and how it kind of made it seem like it was an older movie.
Yeah, that's true. And don't you kind of feel like that Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this film, if he went nuts, he would turn into Mr. Candy from Django? I'm not saying he played the same character. In one scene, I was like, all I saw was Mr. Candy. I was like,
Yeah. Overall, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a really great Tarantino movie with great acting and cinematography. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done, and in my opinion, it is one of the stronger Tarantino films.
Yeah, most stylish movie of the year so far. Tarantino flair, and it's an experience of the summer, man. Like, there's nothing better out right now. There's nothing better out right now.
Exactly. To me, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is amazing, and I'm going to give it an A.
And I'm going to give it an A with a little minus at the end.
Oh, yeah? You want to go?
Oh, yeah. No, let's go, man. I poked my eye out with the...
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, subscribing, tweeting. Oh, wait. Wrong website. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate the support. This was a really fun movie to watch. Thanks for joining me again.
Gorlami.
What is that?
It's an Inglourious Basterds reference, man. Gorlami.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. I'd really appreciate it if you did. And as always, have a fantabulous day. Peace out. Oh, wait.